Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
Well, good morning, one and all. It is 7:07 on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. A happy Wednesday to everyone. And yes, it is a happy Wednesday, Julie Gunlock. We are unpacking the debate, and I'm getting happier by the moment, Julie. I hope you are as well. Yes?
Yes, I am. Go on.
Good. Thank you. This is O'Connor Company. I am Andrew Langer. I'm in for Larry this week, alongside Julie Gunlock. We've got a great show coming up. Still, we got the next hour. We've got the Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost. He's going to tell us exactly what's going on the ground in Springfield, Ohio. That came up in last night's debate. And then we're going to talk about the moderation of yesterday's debate, the spin both before and afterwards. We're going to be joined by Brent Bozell from the Media Research Center. But joining us right now is Ron Johnson. He's a senator from the great state of Wisconsin. So glad he can join us today. And, you know, we go back and forth, Senator, about last night. What were your impressions of the debate?
Well, good morning, guys. Well, I mean, overall, it's obvious it was a 3-1. Mm-hmm. And, you know, having to deal with the legacy corporate media all the time, it's just annoying. They never hold the left to account. They never call them out when they lie, and they lie all the time because they can do so with impunity. You know, I mean, Vice President Harris talked about Project 2025, which I've never read a word of. I doubt that President Trump has either. He lied about the fact that he doesn't want in vitro fertilization, where he's very clear that he is completely supportive in vitro fertilization. Again, it is just galling to listen to those types of things. But I think probably the good news here is people pretty well know who these folks are. You know, again, the vice president completely was let off the hook, not having to explain her flip-flopping, just kind of smoothly ignored the questions. But again, it's just when you're subjected to legacy media all the time and you just see it play out one more time in front of the national audience, it's just galling.
I mean, hold on for a second, Senator, because let me get for we haven't played this yet. The very first question out of the gate to Vice President Harris was about this. Michael, let's play cut number 18.
Believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition,
right,
the
we can end that there. So I mean, this is exactly what we're talking. Very first question out of the box, she doesn't answer it. If this had been Donald Trump, they would have said, well, wait a minute, you didn't actually answer the question. Are people better off 4 years ago? Your thoughts here?
People clearly are not better off next year. And, you know, there's no doubt about it. She was smooth. She was very well practiced. And, you know, she was on my committee for the time in the Senate. And, you know, she would come in and I think probably her staff would write out her questions. And my general impression of the vice president, she was just mean to the witnesses. You know, particularly I remember the director of ICE, where she basically said that ICE was somewhat similar to the KKK. So no, again, it's just galling when she's able to skate around the issues, not answer the questions, not be held accountable. But again, I've been saying since last summer that I doubted that Biden was going to be the nominee, and whoever they slotted in for Biden, they're going to put that person on a pedestal. They're going to claim that person the latest, the new Messiah, the second coming. And even though I've been predicting it, my jaw has pretty well dropped to the extent to which the media has done exactly that. And last night was just another example of it.
I'd like to get your reaction also to a moment in the debate when Trump tried to bring up the sloppy and clumsy and deadly withdrawal from Afghanistan. And again, ABC's David Muir sort of comes to the rescue. Let's play cut 20.
And these people did the worst withdrawal and, in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move.
Yeah, and then he cuts him off and he says, I want to move on. And he moves on to race and politics in this country. So doesn't even ask Kamala for her reaction to that or question her at all on that sloppy withdrawal and the 13 service members who died. What was your reaction when you saw that?
Well, again, it's not a level playing field. It's not a fair fight. And, it's I know it sounds like whining to point this out, but this is a serious issue we have in this country because we don't have an unbiased media that holds both sides equally accountable. Conservatives, we're not looking to catch a break from the media. I want a media that is inclusive, that does investigations, that holds both sides equally accountable. The reason we have a deep state that is pervasive, and populated basically by leftists is because the media doesn't hold them account for their corruption. So if you really want to take a look at one of the reasons the country's in such deep doo-doo here is the radical left took over our university systems. They're graduating not journalists by and large, they're graduating advocates for the left.
Yes.
And as a result, they support all these policies that by and large the American people don't. I mean, the American people want voter ID, but according to the media and Democrats, well, that's racist. I don't know where this transgenderism came. Listen, I think Americans are compassionate. Anybody with true gender dysphoria, people have compassion for. But why has this been hoisted up as like the major issue and the group that must be defended at all costs? Where do you come off mutilating little children, on the altar of transgenderism? This has all been foisted by and supported by a radical left corporate legacy media. And again, I know it sounds like I'm whining, but this is a serious, serious problem in this nation is we do not have an unbiased and balanced media. They're just pushing radical left ideas, and they're foisting them on the American public, and there are enough people that pay attention to what's happening in this country. I think that's what you see in President Trump is just a frustration of them getting away with it.
So, and if the media is not pushing their agenda, they're ignoring things that don't comport with it. There's a story out, Susan Crabtree writing at Real Clear, that the the Secret Service acting director, Ron Rowe, is pushing out the assistant director, Mike Platty. I know you've been very involved in this issue. Your thoughts here?
Well, if you were asked to design an investigation that increased and heightened suspicion, drove conspiracy theories, you'd be hard-pressed to come up with a better investigation than Acting Director Rowe and the FBI are conducting right now. They're being opaque. They're dragging their feet. They're stonewalling. When they give press conferences, they're not giving all the information that is already out there in the public. So, who knows? They put supposedly people on administrative leave. They're letting somebody, go now. I have no idea. Why? The people that we've interviewed are not the top people we want to interview. We haven't been able to talk to the sniper who actually took out Crooks. That's one of the first people I wanted to talk to, and here we are a couple months later, and we haven't talked to that individual yet. So, no, we know the federal government has lied to us repeatedly over the decades. They continue to lie to us and withhold information.
It is a listen. Last night, Kamala Harris apparently endorsed the lab leak theory. Who knew about that? Senator Johnson, listen, we got to leave it there. Thank you so very much for joining us today.
Have a great morning.
That's Ron Johnson. He's a senator from the great state of Wisconsin. We will continue in just a moment, but first, it is 7:15 a.m.
Traffic and weather brought to you by Hadid Carpet Cleaning.
So this is a story that keeps on giving. By the way, we're going to be joined in the next hour by the Ohio Attorney General. His name is Dave Yost, to talk about what's going on in Springfield, Ohio. But we are doing another special edition of Critter Corner here, Critter News here on O'Connor and Company, WMAL. And obviously there is this discussion that 20,000 Haitian refugees have been, I will say dumped, let's say transported to Springfield, Ohio. And folks are rightly concerned. This is a fundamental change in a town that has between 40 and 60,000 people in it. Right. Putting another 20,000 people who are not from the town has a huge impact. Some residents were up at the city commission, I think it's called, complaining about this. There was a very serious allegation being levied. Let's play cut number 23, Michael.
Wherever they're at, That's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them like.
Yeah, and so of course the reaction was, no, this isn't true. This isn't true. By the way, I think what they're saying isn't true because we now also have video of folks calling geese. Is that this gentleman may have been confusing ducks and geese. It's an honest mistake to make for the uninitiated. But the media, of course, is pushing back on this narrative. It was pushed back last night at the debate as well. Here is Caitlin Collins on CNN talking to J.D. Vance, saying that what he's saying isn't true. Let's play cut 24.
He brought up this misleading, false claim that you yourself have talked about in recent days about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, abducting people's pets and eating them, which officials there have said is not true. You yourself acknowledged it may be false on Twitter. You still told people to keep spreading it. But Trump just amplified it to tens of millions of people who were watching. Why push something that's not true?
Well, first of all, city officials have not said it's not true. They've said they don't have all the evidence.
They said they have no evidence.
We've heard from a number of constituents on the ground, Caitlin, who both firsthand and secondhand reports saying this stuff is happening. So they very clearly, meaning the people on the ground dealing with this, think that it is happening. And I think that it's important for journalists to actually get on the ground and uncover this stuff for themselves.
When you have Michael, we can end that there. And so, and part of what's going to happen is, right, we're going to argue about semantics. They're going to say, well, it's not true about ducks, or it's not true about pets. In fact, this is what they were talking about last night. Let's play cut 25.
Or geese at the city pond.
And these people did.
Verify here, you bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, so he says, hold on. So he says no pets, right? This is, again, they're engaging in semantics. So no discussion as to whether or not geese are disappearing from city parks. Plus, we do have video, right? I mean, sorry,
yeah.
Julie, go ahead.
And the Federalist has actually come out this morning with the recording of a citizen calling into the police station saying that their pet is missing and that this animal is being eaten by some member of the immigrant community. And look, what's so troubling about this, and I think this it really needs to be said, is, look, the pets issue, the geese and ducks and cats issue is one issue, but there is a serious problem in Springfield, Ohio, a town of 50,000, I think 55,000 people. HIV reports are skyrocketing in that town. An 11-year-old boy, Aiden Clark, was killed by a Haitian immigrant. He crashed into a school bus, and this little boy was killed. Their school system is now overrun by non-English speakers. They are not prepared for this. There is a real problem with housing in this small town. So, we're all focusing on it. And look, I'm glad that the pets issue has gotten attention on this, but Springfield, Ohio is suffering in multiple ways. And the media, like Caitlin Clark and David Muir and the rest of them, can pretend this isn't happening, but without the right shining a light on this. And look, those silly memes, which made me laugh all day yesterday on Twitter. Thank God for them. And when I say these memes, for those of you who are not on Twitter, these are sort of showing a cartoon Donald Trump running with a cat under one arm and a duck under another arm. And there were other sort of these AI videos showing Kamala Harris stir-frying a cat. And I mean, hilarious, right? Yes. Of course, the left doesn't have a sense of humor. But the bottom line is there's some truth to this. There are claims that pets and other wild animals are going missing in Springfield, Ohio. But that is one issue. There are some serious issues in Springfield, Ohio that the mainstream media is ignoring, and thank God for J.D. Vance and Trump for highlighting this. And we've seen some sort of movement from Governor Mike DeWine finally on this issue. But we need to know what are the roles of these NGOs? What is the role of the governor's office? What is happening in Springfield, Ohio, that cities can be completely overrun and changed by this massive influx of migrants?
And we're going to get that skinny from Dave Yost, the Attorney General of Ohio, when he joins us in the next hour. We got so much more to get to right now. It's 7:23 here on WMAL.
Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is 7:37 on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. A good Wednesday to one and all. Listen, we got a great show coming up. Always fun. We're going to be joined in the next hour by the Attorney General of the great state of Ohio, Dave Yost, who's going to lay us down as to what really is happening on the ground in Springfield, Ohio, the subject of much discussion and debate in the debate last night. He's going to let us know what the facts are. In the 8:35 time frame, we're going to be joined by Brent Bozell from the Media Research Center to talk about the moderation or lack thereof. You can't call it moderation, can you, Julie Gunlock, last night's debate?
That's right. That's right.
Yes, joined by Julie Gunn. By the way, I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor today, tomorrow, and Friday. So excited to be here, as I always am, alongside my good friend Julie Gunlock, who is providing tremendous insight, as she always does. Julie was very much my counterweight this morning as I came in all Eeyore-ish after last night's debate. But Julie, we got good news here. I know you were waiting for this. You were.
Thank God.
Listen, this is big news, big breaking news. For those of you who are the uninitiated, that was a young up-and-coming singer that we're all going to hear a lot about in coming years by the name of Taylor Swift. You know what she needs to do? She needs to date a football player to get herself some notoriety there, Julie Gunlock. You know what she needs to do? She needs to endorse a president. In fact, before we get to this, because I know you're all waiting with bated breath on the news of who Taylor Swift has endorsed, here is the Stephen Colbert Show, because that's where we are in 2024. We're getting this breaking political news.
Newsman, the
yes,
respected newsman.
Stephen Colbert. Let's play cut 28.
All in all, I believe tonight Harris gave one of the best debate performances I have ever seen. And there was nothing, absolutely nothing that could have made tonight any better for Kamala Harris.
Taylor Swift, and a picture of her and her cat. She has just posted that she watched the debate tonight and that she is endorsing Kamala Harris.
Oh, huge surprise.
Well, do you want to do the honors? I mean, I could do my. Go ahead, Julie.
Can I tell you, just this entire
Please.
thing is so embarrassing for women. Now I'm going to do a little bit of what Kamala does as a woman. As a woman, I hate this. As a woman, let me share my feelings on this. First of all, Kamala Harris was helped all along that debate. I believe she was fed those questions ahead of time. I believe she was too scripted. She was too prepared. She was too glossy. Okay. So she probably got the questions. Okay. But then there was firefighting going along, putting out fires. David Muir and that other lady whose name I can never remember, putting
Lindsay
out
Davis.
fires, cutting off Trump, asking him these ridiculous questions, not letting him talk for longer, where they let Kamala go on and on and on. They left Kamala's mic on so that she could challenge Trump. It is sickening. And if you think, as a woman, this is some great moment for women's rights, when Kamala Harris is treated like this by the media, is supported by the media, this was a 3-on-1 debate. And if anybody thinks that it's a shock that Taylor Swift has come out in favor of Kamala Harris, and I love how she timed it so that, she pretends she watched the debate in good faith and then decided that she, and she just happens to have, this photo holding her cat. This was all planned ahead. I have no doubt that Taylor Swift probably coordinated with Kamala Harris's campaign to have this come out right after the debate.
Well, also, it's a poorly written statement here. In the same way that I suspect that Kamala Harris's website was written by AI. I'm going to read this to you. Like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. Oh, now I lost it. Hold on.
Just scroll down.
I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for the country. So, by the way, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposals. Okay, Taylor Swift.
There was nothing to read.
Right, the day before. So, okay. So she goes on down there and she makes some allegations about AI that I hadn't heard. She gives her endorsement. I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially for the first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I'll link where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story.
But
See, that's how you know that they negotiated.
You skipped over an important part. She
All
says,
right,
she talks about, I'm voting for Kamala Harris because of the fight. She fights for rights and causes I believe and need warrior blood champion, then blah, blah, blah. Then she says this, I was also heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. So-called Christian here, by the way. But that is so disgusting. Think about what she is saying there. Tim Walz, who's been standing up for LGBTQ rights. You want to know what he's been doing on the LGBTQ issue area? He has been fighting in his state to take away parents' rights. He is now in Minnesota. Those children who have body dysphoria and many other mental health issues can be taken out of their home, put in some sort of foster care situation, and then mutilated, sexually mutilated. This is what Taylor Swift is supporting, the taking away of children from their parents, the removal of parents' rights, and the mutilation of children. She is disgusting. She is disgusting. Do not support her. I don't care who she's dating. This woman is disgusting to say that she is supporting the Harris-Walz ticket because of child mutilation. That's what it is.
Well, listen, I've long said we need to re-raise the voting age back from 18 to 21. I want to add to this. Anybody who gets their endorsements from Taylor Swift should be made ineligible to vote. We got more coming up. It's 7:43 on WMAL.
WMAL, making sense of the economy because it's your money and your retirement. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
So I guess I'm the cynic here, Julie, because I'm not overly excited about the Taylor Swift endorsement. But apparently the folks at MSNBC, well, they're all in. And I'll tell you something. There's a little thing. There's something a little unseemly about a respected newsman. I'm using that term very sarcastically, very facetiously. Lawrence O'Donnell gushing about hold on for a second. Before we get to Lawrence O'Donnell gushing about this, is there anybody who is surprised that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris? I mean, weren't we expecting her to speak at the DNC? Right? Wasn't this what was teased by us? I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, no, exactly, Andrew. Like, oh, big shocker. Liberal endorses liberal.
Big time Hollywood star, and I know she's a musician, but big time, Hollywood entertainment star endorses far-leaning left Democrat. Shocker. So here's Lawrence O'Donnell talking about what a big deal it is. Let's play cut 29.
This is someone who crosses it all. This is, I think, the most important celebrity endorsement we've ever seen in a presidential campaign, especially because it is so close and it can make that kind of difference. The Harris for President campaign now has the two most perfectly timed and most important endorsements of this campaign. Joe Biden's 27-minute timed endorsement after he said, I'm not the candidate. Perfect timing. It just put a rocket on her to the nomination. This
hold on. All right, we can end it there. Which, by the way, time out for a second. Which belies the nonsense that Nancy Pelosi was saying on The View the other day, that this was an open process and anybody could have stepped in. No, Joe Biden. This was there. The deal was cut. Joe Biden steps away from running. Kamala Harris becomes the running mate. Who knows what other backdoor deals were made? But this is just not perfectly timed. And listen, I'm not denying that there can be a difference that can be made given how close the election is. But this is not a consequential endorsement. Julie, your thoughts?
I mean, look, the sad reality is that celebrity endorsements do matter to some people, and there are
they should not be allowed to vote.
And there are a lot of undecideds. And look, there's an awful lot of single women who like Taylor Swift and of a certain age, and this may sway some voters. I just don't think it's a surprise to anyone. I don't think that some Swiftie was out there going, it's just a real mystery. I wonder who Taylor Swift is going to vote for. They all knew where she was going to go, and this doesn't
also,
change anything.
Who were these undecided Swiftie voters that were on the fence and thinking, okay, I'm waiting for Taylor's decision because I'm kind of leaning towards Donald Trump. I'm sitting here going about this.
Look,
Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. I'm going to wait for what Taylor has to say.
If you are dumb enough to make your sort of presidential vote decision based on who Taylor Swift decides on, then nothing was going to change you. Nothing. You go to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store the other day, and I am just astonished by the prices. But if you're that much of a Swiftie, doesn't matter. That's all that you care about.
I mean, I want to hear Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. We have this cut here of Tim Walsh talking about this. I'm not going to play this. I'm not going to play that one, Michael. I want to play the Ben Shapiro thing. But Tim Walsh talking about as a fellow cat person, there's a great speech. Listen, not that I'm constantly quoting things that you should go watch on C-SPAN, but, when you get a chance today, go to the C-SPAN website and look for Dave Barry's, November, December 1992 speech to the National Press Club, in which he declared the Clinton administration a failure before they took office because the Clintons were cat people. It's brilliant there. Let's hear what Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh had to say, Michael.
She waits until it doesn't matter anymore, and then she signs
6 months,
chat.
all the media could talk about was whether or not she was going to endorse.
Yeah. If you vote based on who Taylor Swift is voting for, you are one of the stupidest people alive.
I'm insulted.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Ben
it is the
Shapiro.
stupidest thing in the world to say, who is this 36? She's the same age as my wife. My wife's a doctor with 4 kids. This lady's acting like she's a 17-year-old girl traipsing around singing songs about the latest dude she broke up with. And we're all supposed to take our voting advice from her? Okay, now you can clip that. You can put it on Media Matters.
There we go.
Hate.
Significance of the
All right, it's 7:53
endorsement.
here on O'Connor and Company, WMAL.